Call this this scheduled meeting of fiscal court into order. And today, on December the 7th, which is Pearl Harbor Observance Day, we'll like to ask Magistrate Ronnie Short to lead us in the invocation.
Everybody bow their head. Lord, we thank you. We thank you for this day. You know, we are so blessed in our nation, even in this county, we are blessed. Thinking about this year, things that we've accomplished, things that we've got done, I believe it's been a great year for us. How we work together, we are blessed to have a great leader in Judge Hunt in our court. Lord, sometimes we disagree, but at the end of the day, we love one another, and that means a lot. What a great group of people that we work with every day. Don't let us forget about the reason for this season this year, because of Jesus Christ. In the Word it says he was wrapped in swaddling clothes, laying in a manger. He was born as a pauper, but coming back as a king. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. All right, we have some special guests with us today that will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. And gentlemen, step up to the mic and we will join you and take your lead.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, for liberty and justice for all.
Now,
I was nervous about that, Judge. I was nervous.
all right, we got just a couple small things to go through, and then we'll get back to Magistrate Dallas's recognition. So we need to approve the prior minutes.
I'll make that motion to approve the minutes as presented.
Okay.
Second.
We have a motion made to approve the minutes by Magistrate Gay and seconded by Magistrate Short. Any comments, changes, or discussions?
Yeah, just one
Okay.
small one. Under Mike Rogers, EMS Director, very first line says contract with KDS. It should be KSD.
Yes.
Probably was autocorrecting.
Yes. All right. Anything else? All those in favor of approving the minutes with the noted correction, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Motion carries unanimously. Thank you. And next, we need to pay some bills. Ms. Darlene, you got that for us?
I do, have a total of $3,439,912.66. I have no budget transfers and one cash transfer of $100,000 to EMS.
Okay, well, let's pay the bills first with a motion, entertain a motion to pay the bills.
Can
And
you can you repeat, because again we're down a mic.
Sorry.
Can you get her a mic and repeat that so we know what's?
Okay, the bills were $3,439,912.66.
Wasn't costly, was it?
I'll second that motion to approve that.
Okay, and Magistrate Kaywood made the motion and seconded by Magistrate Gay to approve the bills as presented. Any comments, questions? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Motion carries unanimously. There were no budget transfers, and we had one cash transfer, and you will repeat that, please, Darlene.
That was $100,000 to EMS.
Okay.
So move.
All right. I got a motion by Magistrate Short and seconded by Magistrate Sammons to approve the cash transfer. Questions, comments? All right, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Motion carries unanimously. All right, next. Now, my turn to start on the consent calendar, and I'll defer to Magistrate Tom Ellis for a presentation and introduction of everybody, if you will.
All right, thank you, Judge. I'll sit and read the resolution. 2021 Boyle County State Champion Football Team. Whereas the Boyle County Rebels football team has once again won its 4A title, and whereas this constitutes the 10th state football championship won by the Boyle County Rebels since their inception in 1963, and whereas head coach Justin Haddix and his complement of outstanding football coaches have achieved their second consecutive state championship, and whereas the Boyle County football coaches share Superintendent Mike LaFavor's, the teachers and staff dedication to both academics and athletics, and whereas the cheerleaders, band, parents, and fans constitute the 12th man in the success of Boyle County's football program, now therefore be it resolved on this 7th day of December 2021 by action of the Boyle County Fiscal Court, we declare this day in honor of our state championship Boyle County football team. And I suppose I will make a motion that that be accepted by my colleagues on the court.
And I second that. Okay, motion made by Magistrate, seconded by Magistrate Sammons. Any comments? All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign, 100% unanimous. Thank you.
Great job. Judge, you and I.
I'd like to add, Judge, if I may, I'd like to add that he didn't take any pity on my home school.
Our president of CAECO, our magistrate friend, Bill Sammons, called me before the game, remorseful about what I would be feeling after the game was over. It didn't quite work out that way. Gentlemen, please
They didn't take any pity on the judge's wife's
Hey,
homeschool
Tom,
either.
can you,
Hey,
Can
we
you
move that
remove that?
podium out of the way?
Sure.
Oh, I didn't mean to. He's instructing
Let's see, you're tall, come on up here, you guys get where.
Short guys up front.
Judge, I'll let
That's all
you
of
make the
them.
presentation now.
Isn't it?
Come right up here.
Coach,
Get the principal up, he needs to be in
can
the
you,
center.
can you get all of us in there if you can't see?
Yeah.
I can.
I don't know if she
Ready?
wants to.
1, 2, 3.
Well, that's a good looking
Yeah.
dog.
Thank you all.
Judge, Coach, good seeing you, buddy. I'll have lunch with you one day. Oh, yeah. Okay. I'll yell at you.
Thing's a dinosaur.
That
was last year's ring. I said that thing's a dinosaur.
We got
design- we can design
this year.
We're designing it right now.
Congratulations again.
Appreciate it.
We're gonna get the next one.
Hey, to be honest, I think you're the 12th.
Yeah, I know.
This one's right now.
That's where it came from.
Yeah, he gave it to me to gift to you. Good seeing you, buddy.
Huh?
He said he's.
There you go.
Hey, we like it when y'all run out relaxed, you know?
Yeah, they love that, they're fine.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
We do love one. Yeah, I mean, yes, sir.
Thanks, y'all.
God bless you guys.
God bless you. Have a great day. Thank you.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. All right, next, in your binders, you'll see some information about the trip that I undertook and went with some representatives from the area to Western Kentucky when we visited Henderson and Madisonville. And in those pages are several notes that were compiled by Earl Coffey and Alan Turbyfield. There's some good information in there that gives you a snapshot of how potentially the EDA might be coming to fruition and coming to life. There's some important things in there that I think that you'll pick up on about the benefit of local participation by leadership of the new EDA, who does what and that sort of thing. Also, there are some priorities that are established in there that really kind of, I felt like, if I can find the priority list, hold on a second.
It's on the front page there, Judge.
Is it on the front?
Yes, priorities of focus. Right in the middle of the page.
Yeah. For the BRE, the business retention and expansion, crosses all sectors like it says, but it's mostly focused on what we have right now here in the county. And then there's another workforce development aspect, which will be focused on the housing, employment opportunities, and doing what's necessary to get people going. And actually, the third one is in priority, which I tend to personally agree with, is the recruitment for new business and industry, because if we're not doing a good job of being a steward for our current businesses and they're developing, growing, and putting together the workforce to meet the demands of any new recruited business, then we're not doing our job as economic development focus. So this is just information and more to come. If anybody got any questions, feel free to ask. I was fortunate enough to attend and heard some good stuff. There's some innovation going on in both communities, but in Madisonville they had a place where they called, I can't remember the name of it, it's in here somewhere, but where they actually had skilled craftsmen or people that they had a grant to buy a bunch of woodworking and metalworking equipment, and you could go in and build frames or wood bowls for somebody or something, like a wood Christmas ornament or stuff like that people like us around the table would do just to give them an occupation, kind of a small business foot in the door sort of thing. And it was just great. Now, while we were there, we didn't see anybody actually working the equipment. That may have been by design, but they probably had over $100,000 worth of woodworking and metalworking equipment in this facility that people paid X number of dollars, $45 a month, to be able to go in and do it. And they were checked out from a safety standpoint in all this equipment, and they were certified before they could operate it without supervision. So
This is kind of like the same presentation we saw that the city put on over out at the extension office. I think that gentleman was from there, the economic development person out there was, and I think that was one of the biggest things I took away from it. Something like that.
it's called the Maker Space Facility.
Yeah, no, I was pretty pumped up by something like that we could do.
It looks like from the, I'm sorry.
No, you're good.
It looks like from the notes that it was a successful and good visit.
It was a good visit. And I think one takeaway is that every community has similarities in the way they approach economic development, and they also have differences in the way they approach economic development. There is no set, successful, cookie cutter, construct to being the right thing, but it's right for whatever your community is generating and where it stands, geographically, regionally, and everything else. So,
And one of the things on the priorities, we talked about this the other night as well, is the under workforce development. I think closely in there comes housing, and also another component of that is child care. That's those two issues are a big part, not only just the training that goes into workforce development, but you've got to have the housing to house the workforce in, and then you also have to have the child care capability to keep people in the workforce.
Every community that exists anywhere in this Commonwealth, and probably every state in America, has those challenges before it to contend with on a regular basis.
Yeah, I'd echo and was going to bring up that very point, and appreciate Magistrate Gay bringing that one up. And harking back 2 or 3 of our meetings where Magistrate Kaywood brought up our $44.1 million of revenue that comes in with tourism, I'm pleased that there was an emphasis there too on getting people in through their CVB, and that's something that I'm excited because we have a new CVB director as of this week, and we've got to really support his actions, and we are such an asset for the Commonwealth of Kentucky and far beyond between Constitution Square and the battlefield that we can emphasize that and perhaps put a goal of 15 or 20% growth in the future on tourism alone.
That's a figure that comes out annually through that book that I got my numbers out of. But it also is a area that affects every business up and down the street, affects every business in town, everywhere. Junction, it just affects the whole industry. You go back to what we learned when we were at the seminar that the city put on about a month or so ago. Economic development is everything. Never forget that. It is everything.
It is everything.
Yeah.
It is everything. Any other comments about that? That's just a little snippet of some of the things that the group gleaned from their trip, and there's more to come on that in the future.
Wow. I know you didn't put this together. I'm just trying to figure out. Under miscellaneous, he says they don't have a Main Street program. They use Chamber and CVB for downtown with no formal relationship. And as a former downtown business owner, I've always kind of wondered why we had so many repetitive things happening, and especially when you're looking for dues and fees. Did they say why? I know here they always talk about Main Street program certifications or whatever. But did they say why they don't have a Main Street program there? Or?
I don't remember the reason why that they don't. All they indicated to us that the Main Street programs were not viable in each location. And I don't know if I remember them saying why, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
But
and many of us have always wondered. I mean, that kind of seems like there's a redundancy in what we do here, and so maybe CVB kind of. I don't know. Anyway, I just thought it was interesting that they noted that there was no Main Street program.
Yeah, and I don't remember what their reasoning was why they didn't, but they just said in both locations that the Main Street programs, because that question was asked specifically, that they were not viable, and they just kind of, it's not something we work with.
Okay. Well.
That's all. I can't remember why.
Well, I mean, I think a lot of us have questioned the redundancy. So a lot of times we think we can't get rid of something because we don't know what it's going to look like. But if other towns and communities are doing it and they're successful, and then it gives us an easier opportunity to kind of move forward with things and mend things together instead of having so many, things that are redundant. Anyway, cool. Thanks.
All right. Anything else?
Well, I think every county's not the same.
Oh, no.
Yeah,
So,
of course
not.
For them, it might be totally different than for us.
Well, so
But it's something you need to probably look at anyway.
yeah. Well, it's confusing. So on Main Street, when I had that place, I would, $200+ to Heart of Danville, and then $200+ to the Chamber, and so it's like, you kind of get hit with all these fees of all these places that are trying to, in some ways, a lot of ways, do the same kind of job, but one focuses on a specific area. So anyway, all right.
Okay.
Thank you.
Anybody else want to comment about that? Moving right along, you had in your binder or near your binder, you had a proclamation that came out to us yesterday afternoon from the governor, identifying December 5 through 11 as Winter Weather Awareness Week. So we're starting to get into winter, and just, we're talking about sleet, freezing rain on the roads. Be cautious, be careful, look out for other people. The crux, I can read it, but everybody's got a copy of the proclamation that the governor signed. It said the 29th of November. We got it yesterday in email, so just passing that on for information.
5th was 70 degrees, a beautiful day.
Yes.
Chance of snow tonight.
Yeah, I know.
Gotta love Kentucky.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Let us
looking
know,
to.
let us know,
We're
let us
looking
know.
to the weather.
All right, the next is the job description on assistant treasurer. Would anybody in the personnel committee like to help and work with these next two, which are the recommendations for a new assistant treasurer? Guys, I think on this one, that was, I believe it was John and Jamie. Who was it?
Right.
It was,
Oh, this is, okay, Brian, John and Ronnie. So, do y'all wanna take and talk about these, about the job description and how it was compiled or composed? I can do that, and what your recommendation moving forward might be?
well, we can tell you our recommendation, but there's a whole lot in here to go over.
Well, there is. What the job description that's in your binders, is a combination of an individual's current job description and a blending of assistant treasury kinds of things that can help and not take away from one job to help do another job. It's something that is doable by anybody on all levels. So this job description is a new one. Well, it's kind of new. We did have an assistant treasurer before, and some of the elements of that are incorporated in this. And so it's been scrutinized and reviewed and discussed at every level. And I just wanted to check and see, does the committee want to make a recommendation to follow on with the acceptance? First, I'd like to move for acceptance of this job description
Make a move.
and
Second.
a motion to accept the job description made by Magistrate Short and seconded by Magistrate Kaywood. Anybody got any questions about what's in the binder or anything on it?
I think it makes sense.
It does to me.
Yeah, I mean, really,
It's, I guess I'm in the dark a little bit. We are still looking for an HR person. This is entirely different, am I correct?
Yes.
Entirely different.
Okay, this is, and the HR person's gonna be about the third person we're hiring
This is
within
not,
the last 6 months.
okay.
Why do we need assistant treasurer?
We've had one in the past, and it's good to help, especially with a new treasurer, to help with experience and moving forward and being a backup during sick or incapacitation or whatever.
We might help out with it.
It'll help out a little bit if you know what's next. I
Okay.
think it'll help clarify
I
some
just
things. in your
wonder
mind.
because it seems like we're spending an awful lot of money on, hiring 3 people here, and we don't hire them for nothing.
No,
It
that's
just
right.
costs a lot of money,
That's right.
and I'm
But-
just wondering.
just for clarification, what 3 people have we hired?
Well, we're talking about a new treasurer, we're talking about an HR person we're hiring, we're talking about
But two
assistant
new budgeted.
treasurer.
2 new budgeted, yeah, okay, so I was just trying to figure out, I mean, the treasurer, the job's already there.
That job was already there.
Yeah.
Assistant treasurer, some time ago, we did have one. It didn't pan out the way the one we had,
Well, we're learning from our mistakes,
so,
but,
Let's
I mean,
go
I
over
think-
this. Let's
no, go ahead, I'm
Let's
sorry.
go and take the vote, and then we'll explain who we
All
recommended.
right, yeah.
And,
I thought we were
uh,
discussing,
So,
so,
we're discussing the job description, not anything else.
well, I thought we were discussing the need for the job description.
Okay, we are.
So,
Okay, go ahead.
I mean, I think that this is vital because right now, you've got several people pulling double duty to get things done around here. And by by refilling this position, you're gonna allow others to do their jobs instead of asking them to do their job plus another job. And so what I feel we're trying to do is make this office more efficient, allowing us to not miss things, not to lose the opportunity to make sure we're collecting all the tax dollars that we should be, along with allowing our new treasurer to look at implementing some positive changes to help make the fiscal court even better. So I think anyone that holds a tough position like our treasurer really needs somebody to assist. And you know, just because it didn't work out in the past, you know, I think that's why it's important that the committee's gotten together, along with, I'm guessing, help from some of those that are pulling double, triple duty
It's true,
to make sure that
it's true.
we're learning and we're putting it forth. This is what we're looking for out of an individual, and this is our expectations of them. And if they don't meet those expectations, then we have the ability to train or remove from that position. So.
I concur with Magistrate Cullen. It's a pretty remarkable task to be the treasurer for our county, and we've had to borrow from other folks around here for their talents, and we'll have a new focus on the budget with the assistant helping our treasurer, and I just think this is a position that's very much needed.
Okay, anybody else?
Well, it just really just fills in when she can't, you know, some jobs that she has, she can't get to. Plus, if she has to miss for being sick or something, we've got somebody to come in and fill in.
And not miss a beat.
Not miss a beat. You know, we've been there. It's ugly. So, it's just to help, really, it's to help the county more than anything.
I think once the committee makes its recommendation, it will all fall into place and you'll understand it and it'll feel right, okay? That's my
I agree with you.
Well, it's a big job.
It's a
and
big
we can't
job.
expect it just to rest on one person's
Yeah.
shoulders.
And just the collection of over 400,000 that was out there that needed to be collected over an extended period of time begs that we make sure that we have things covered and covered well.
Plus, it's always good to have two eyes on something.
I agree
Or
with that,
two sets of eyes, I should say.
especially on Monday.
Well,
Not that we're pirates.
we, not long ago, were caught in a situation where an unfortunate accident made it very tough. She had the determination and she came in hurt. And that's a terrible position, not only to
Absolutely.
put her in, but to put us in. But it's just the way you never know from day to day what's going to happen. We will be better prepared for the unfortunate things that sometimes happen in life by doing this and
Right.
moving forward with it.
I'm not, don't get me wrong, I'm not for filling this position. I know they need it, but I'm also very conservative. I want to make sure we stay within guidelines and budget of how much money we've got, because we're talking about hiring an HR director, and you're talking about $75,000 to $100,000 probably, and we don't want to get ourselves in a bind where we don't have the money to pay these people. My problem. Well, I know we need them. We need them.
Over time, Phil, and I understand where you're coming from. Please don't misunderstand me. However, we probably should have done this some time ago.
Yeah.
Because I think we failed to realize the position of HR has progressed through recent years. It's very difficult, and it really is a specialization that we have not had a truly specialized person in this area. I think today's times
We need
and
that.
our size of government, that we can be more efficient and more trained to handle things properly in today's world than ever before. If you'd have sat in this morning's meeting with EMS and what they're going through, so much of what we talk about is in the area of HR, and we don't have the expertise that to come up with the best answer
Yeah.
in
I mean,
today's world.
Shannon does a good job. She tries her best.
She
But it's
tries
not-
very hard.
No, it's not her wheelhouse, and that's what.
And to add to that, I would say to you, if you remember, there's times that Shannon has said this is the right direction herself. She
Yes.
realizes it herself,
Yeah.
and I appreciate her thought in this.
Okay, let's hear what, moving right along.
All right,
Well,
Need to vote.
yeah.
we need to vote, but there's no doubt, we've all said it, we're very lucky to have the talent that we have here.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
been able to fill in
Well, we've
and
got
help
dedicated-
us
we have
with not in
dedicated
trouble.
people.
Yeah, exactly.
Secretary is
Well, you don't-
dedicated people.
We don't want to abuse those dedicated people by overworking them when we have
You
to make
you
decisions
ever
on
heard the
hiring.
term, ride a good horse into the ground?
Yeah.
We don't want to do
yeah.
that.
No,
Don't want to do
no,
that.
no, no.
Now you
Move
know.
right
So,
along, let's
all right.
move along with it.
All those in favor of the job description as presented and approving the job description as presented, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Motion carries. Next, Magistrate Short, if you'll take it from here on the recommendations.
Well, the committee recommendation was Jackie to, when she's needed, that she can come up and help with the treasurer. That's not this, she's going to keep her job that she's got now
In occupational.
occupational, but she will help out when it's needed. And what we recommended was to raise her salary, $17.50 an hour, and she's making 14 something now.
95, I
Yeah.
believe.
So that's what we recommended to do
So Phil, it's
is
a $2.50 an hour.
to hire Jackie to come up. So really, we're not really adding a whole new person on. We've already.
I misunderstood. I thought.
Well, you didn't know, Phil. You didn't know. But anyway, that's what we recommended.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Okay, motion made by Magistrate Gay and second by Magistrate Cullen to promote Jackie Richardson into the Assistant Treasurer position as described in the job description, which was just approved, at a salary of $17.50 an hour, starting at the beginning of the next pay period.
And I'd just like to
Is
comment
that
that I appreciate.
okay? I added that amendment to it, they're starting at the beginning of the next pay period.
Absolutely.
That's good.
And I'd just like to say that I appreciate Magistrate Salmon's fiscal type fist. on
Oh, I do
this, that
too.
We make sure
I do too.
and answer all the questions.
Yeah. Yes,
Just one thing to point out, Jackie is hopefully going to be a 20-year employee for us. And I'm really big, and I think the judge is, on succession planning. And having somebody who knows the job now, learning and perfecting, will help you and help the county down the road. So that's more about what this is to have somebody in the wings to help and learn and build.
Saying you should get the information before you open your mouth. And I apologize for that. So I thought we was hiring another person
Yeah.
at a salary. And I agree with you on Jackie, and I think that's a good move. I only see one problem with it. Maybe it didn't increase it enough.
Well, goes back to where we're lucky with the talent we have, that we can pull from somebody that can come over and help. So, I mean, essentially, we are hiring for a position, but luckily we have
Well, we're
somebody
not
that's
hiring
willing to.
another individual, we're just adding that duties to her.
Right.
yes.
Yep.
That is
Okay,
correct.
moving right along.
Is there any other comments? We have a motion and a second to approve Jackie Richardson at $17.50 an hour, starting at the beginning of the next pay period. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Motion carries unanimously.
Ronnie, you just keep that mic over by you.
I don't.
In your binders, you have thank you cards from McDowell House Museum
Yeah, right
and the
there.
Community Foundation for everybody to look at, and they're in
No
there
money in mine.
for your perusal. I appreciate that recognition by both entities, and it's just nice to get this time of year. And then hopefully we have another gentleman that we want to recognize who, as you see on there on our agenda, Tim Webb is one of our Public Works employees. He's not here. He's caught wind of it. He's kind of shy, okay? Well, he's not shy, but he doesn't like the spotlight. Let's put it that way. Anyway, Tim Webb is been a tremendous employee for the county out in the Public Works Department, and I want to read to you a Faithful Service Award that I will present to him when he is available. Okay, that,
Might
put
have
it
to
that
go to
way.
him.
Can I make a recommendation?
Yes, sir.
Why don't we just,
He's on his way.
He's on his way.
why don't we just meet out the road department and present it to him there? Make
Well-
sure we catch him.
Why don't we defer this, the reading of this until
You get
such time that he's here? and it's not that long. You've seen it and you've signed it, so we'll just press on with, unless he's out there right now. Okay.
Hey, when he gets here, can we get someone to fix that door handle?
Yeah.
Everyone thinks it's locked from the outside. It just doesn't turn right.
Next, we'll move on to Miss Kay Shawler with the Ethics Committee, and she's got the whole committee here.
I do. Okay. Didn't want to waste your time, so I just made a little statement. Good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you all for allowing us the opportunity to update you on the activities and membership of the Boyle County Ethics Commission. First of all, I'm Kay Shawler, currently chair, a psychologist in practice for 40 years. I know I don't look that old, but okay. 35 in administration and clinical work in the community mental health centers, okay. And in my professional ethics committee for about 20 years. And I'm still required to have CE in ethics. So we just kind of thought you all needed to know who are we that put this together. So the other members, I'll let them have a moment about themselves and what they do.
I'm Rebecca Helm, Kernodal from Parable, and my undergrad and graduate work was in education, and I taught school before I decided to stay home and raise 4 boys. Now I'm in real estate.
5, isn't it?
Well, that is true, yes. If you know my family, it is 5, including my husband. And so with real estate, we are required to take ethics training. They've changed it. It's every 3 years now. It was every 2.
And I might add, if I don't care, that you are the daughter of Bruce.
Yes.
Yeah, she said, yeah, Bruce's.
She said him, but she didn't say who her daddy was.
Right.
We're proud to know him,
Sure are.
And her.
and you.
My name is Joe Myers, and as you can see, I've got some great folks to work with here. I live here in Danville. I'm a retired public defender, did that for over 22 years. I still have my license to practice law, and as Chris knows, I have to keep up on my ethics for that. I'm also an active member of my church, and I'm grateful for the opportunity that Judge Hunt gave me to get this position. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So, and we have 2 open slots that the judge is currently looking at appointments for.
Right.
So we will, but as you see, this is I feel very good about this group
We
as
just
well.
reappointed to a new 3-year term, Rebecca,
Yes.
last time.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you, Judge. Thank you. So over a year ago, this body and Mr. Herron did state that the ethics code needed to be updated and revised. We want to report our work on these revisions. The current code was approved in 1995, so it is a bit older. It needs updating and clarification in language and format. Sometimes it's very hard to read. We'll also be proposing several new sections for review by the county attorney and for your attention. We've used material from across the state to look at this. So just a moment to say why the attention to the ethics code. Here's a statement from one code, in quotes. The values of an organization are reflected in the quality of the decisions made. In a public service organization, where a public office is a public trust, the issue of ethics has particular importance. The vitality and stability of the government of the county depends upon the public's confidence in the integrity of its elected and appointed officers and employees. Whenever the public perceives a conflict between the private interest and public duties of a county officer or employee, that confidence is imperiled, end quotes. Some of the proposed new sections include information on conflicts of interest in general and with contracts, use of county property, misuse of confidential information, post-employment restrictions, and integrity, which includes acceptable and unacceptable personal behavior. These sections are all based on current resources. Our present code has very little information about filing a complaint, so our recommendations will include a very specific process. Since there was nothing specific in the current code, this committee has had to define a process, but we know it needs further clarification. So these recommendations, we think, will benefit the public by ensuring a method that standards of ethical conduct shall be clearly established, uniform in their application, and enforceable. We appreciate the trust in the work of this committee, and we strive to serve Boyle County. So, thank you. That's where
I'm
we are
excited
now.
to see the fruits of your deliberations and your efforts.
We're in the
I think-
middle of the write-up right now, and we're going to look at that the first of the year and put that together for us to review, then send it to Mr.
I know
Mayor.
this, and Chris, our county attorney, and I have talked about this several times. It is in dire need of updating.
It
This
is.
is the right term to use, and so
It
I
is.
appreciate you all taking that on.
Thank you.
Your diverse backgrounds and experience are going to really add to this, so thank you for that.
Thank
Absolutely.
you.
Okay.
We'll give it our best.
Thank you,
Yes.
Kay.
Thank you very
Appreciate
much.
it.
Thank you.
Appreciate y'all's
Thank
work.
you
Merry
for your
Christmas.
time today and coming in, and appreciate the update.
Thank you for,
You may see us since you're in a work session sometimes here on the.
That's okay, that's good, place to work.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Thank you again.
I think it's, I mean, you touched on, I think it's good to know that our county attorney here, like many others, has to wear lots of hats.
Oh, yeah.
And this is an important update that needs to happen, and I appreciate Chris for
I do too.
taking this on, and, I mean, it's important. There's stuff in there that needs to be done, and he's been looking at that, I think, pretty much since the beginning of his term, so.
Yep.
thanks.
Yep.
It's good to know that there's another attorney there.
Yeah.
As well.
Yeah.
So,
And you always get along.
yeah, I'm not really
I mean,
had much
attorneys.
contact with him. Oh, yeah. But it's good to know that he's there because I think he can give them guidance and stuff.
All right, we have our sheriff with us today, and he's going to present kind of an amendment to what we've done in the past.
I think Casey had came in last meeting to get permission to get the vehicle. Well, we didn't have any emergency equipment added to that. With the list of the emergency equipment that we have is it's standard. It's through the totals. It's $10,877.31 if you add these two together. That's still about $5,000 under what we had budgeted because Sam is going to install all of it for us. So he's going
I thought we talked about this. Because I remember us talking about Sam being able to do this stuff, so I thought we covered this.
in the.
Not this particular vehicle, we didn't.
This is the one. This is the one that Casey.
Casey came in and talked about, you thought it was a truck, and we actually said that no, it was a Charger that was coming in that we were buying, and I thought somewhere in there we discussed buying it, and then we said, of course, we have to also approve the outfitting of it as well.
Okay, I
And
wasn't
thought that's
sure.
what this was, but I mean, just for clarification
I
and
just
to make sure.
I wasn't sure if that happened or not.
Yeah,
and
no.
Casey wasn't either. So.
Yeah, I'm almost positive. I mean, I'll make a motion that we go ahead and approve this estimate.
But remember the term that I brought to everybody's attention as a spelling, accoutrements?
Mm-hmm.
That's what we're talking about.
That's right.
Outfitting the cruiser, and you remember me using that term? Everybody said, "Where'd that come
Oh yeah, we have the word of the day.
from?" Word of the day.
Yeah.
I don't know what that means either.
He'll send it to you. He
All the goodies, all the goodies
I have
is
to
what it
I have
means.
to Google that if I can figure out how to
I
spell
thought
it.
it was
Google it, yeah.
I
Yeah.
thought it was one of those boards with
Vehicle.
meats and cheeses, but
I know, right?
Right.
The vehicle's gotta be equipped, just so I make a motion, we approve it.
Second.
All right, motion to approve the additional equipment for the cruiser that was approved last time, made by Magistrate Salmon, seconded by Magistrate Cullen. Is there any further discussion on this?
Make sure it's got decals, so.
It is actually
Magistrate Salmon's knows
it's
when he's
being
in Florida.
striped.
Yes.
Yes, that's actually being striped. So.
All right, any other discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
How's your staff, sir?
Good. We're doing all right. We're gonna. I think I'm gonna hire a part-time guy to kind of help fill in some shift void where I said I'm not gonna fill that one full-time position, trying to get the money up for the other guys to try to stay competitive with stuff around us right now. And
How's
that's
your overtime, sir?
we have one guy that's about worked his butt off because at one point we had two vacancies, but I think we budgeted 50 and we're at about 27,000 this year. So
Great.
we're way under our projected or our line item for overtime. So we're way under that right now.
Well, that's great.
Kind of got plenty of
Now,
room.
you go by calendar year, right?
I'm sorry?
You go by the calendar year.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, so we'll be working on the new budget for the next calendar year. We are right now, actually.
Okay.
So, but I think
Well, it's great to be that much and you're about over.
yeah. So we're in pretty good. Well, I know we'll be way under on
Yeah.
our salary
That's
cap
great.
for the overtime. That is. Not
Collection's still going well.
Oh yeah. We're way ahead of where we were last year, actually. So.
I have to
What percent do you think you have in?
We're
Roughly, just
close
ballpark.
to 90 right now. I think
Really?
we've got around 16 something of a little over 19 million already in.
That's great.
So
That's great.
that's ahead of
So
where we
we'll
were
have
last year.
98% or better by
99. We should be 99. But by the end of December, we'll be 97, 98, and then we'll have some trickle in throughout January and February. Before.
Sheriff, do you have any other discussion with the Danville school system on maybe sometime less collecting their taxes?
Not with the new administration at this point. That would be a game changer for us. I mean, that would almost make us completely self-sufficient, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I don't know what it costs them to do that, but
I just wonder what percent they're collecting.
I don't know.
Well, I just want to let you know that I appreciate greatly you and your deputies. There was a fire call out in my district the other day, and I went out and responded to it. It was a single vehicle accident, and deputy waved off the person that was in the accident, a young man, waved off the ambulance, and so your deputy was just out there by himself, and we're out on 52, dark area, you know, just sitting there taking care of business out by himself. And I imagine that can be a lonely shift.
Sometimes, yeah.
And but I appreciate all they do, and the way he handled it. This young man was really upset by the accident, and just the compassion that he showed, and just really trying to be there as a fellow human being and person. I really appreciate it. So thank you for the great job that you do with your staff.
Thank you.
Starts at the top, doesn't it?
I don't know. Sometimes it trickles down that way. Yeah. So.
All right, thank you so much.
Thank you all.
Keep your guys safe out there.
It's been a lot happier lately. I don't know what it is.
Yeah, I know. It's in the water.
Let's see, Duane should be next. Here he comes.
He knows.
He's watching. There he is. Still no Tim.
Still no Tim.
He's shy. We thought we had him up here, but anyway.
Still ain't got here, huh?
No.
I
I have two items on the agenda, huh?
I thought I saw him earlier, but in our committee, or no?
No.
Anyway, all right.
I thought he was coming up before 9, but anyway. Tim Webb is going to retire at the end of the month, so we need to, I guess I'm asking for permission to advertise for that position, to fill that position.
Make that motion.
Second it.
Okay, I've got a motion made by Magistrate Cullen, seconded by Magistrate Ellis on the buzzer beater over here. Yeah.
He's too old to beat me.
And is there any discussion on the motion that allows Public Works to advertise for replacement of a retiree? There being none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Motion carries. All right, next.
Good deal. And the second item, huh?
Tim will retire at the end of the year, and you'll have some.
No, he's retiring this week.
Well, but officially he will be retired December 30th.
Yeah, yes.
31st.
He's got some leave he's burning.
Okay, you'll have someone first of the year take his place, right?
Well, as close as possible, yes.
Yeah, okay.
That's why he's not showing up, because they can't tell me what to do anymore.
That's part of it, isn't it?
It could be it. It could be it.
What was my second item? I forgot what it was.
We're bid out equipment rates.
That's right. We've talked about in the past, and FEMA asked us for this too, to advertise for bids for equipment rental, really, or use, which would be the equipment and operator, in the event that we have a large snowstorm or something like that, or maybe even a large windstorm, and we need extra help cleaning up. And so that's what that is just to advertise for bids for equipment.
Good. I remember last
I do.
winter.
We have an email to Michelle Barrett, because we also need to know what their recommendation is as far as insurance requirement on these folks. So, but we'll get that information before we advertise, so we can have it in the advertisement.
I'm gonna make that motion.
Second.
Okay, I've got a motion made by Magistrate Gay and seconded by Magistrate Cullen.
What is the motion?
To bid out equipment rates for rental equipment.
Okay, just, and you don't know what kind of equipment you're.
Well, we'll make a list of some various types of equipment.
Looks like it looks like it'd be appropriate to wait to make that motion and to vote on it, so you tell us what.
It's just gonna be equipment that we would just use in case.
So like last year.
Not
when-
buying anything.
No.
It's just an
Yeah,
hourly
I
rate.
know what we're doing.
Yeah.
But that way the judge doesn't have to come in and make an
Why we
executive.
vote on it and this and that until we.
Well,
know
that
what
way
it
we
should
can have
be.
it on standby.
Because in the middle of a snowstorm, it's hard to get you back together for an official meeting to vote on this.
It's a timing thing.
Yeah.
That ice storm
Last year when he had to
taught
rent
us a
from
lot.
Allen Company that thing that came in and
grader.
broke up all the ice.
The grader.
The grader, you know, you had to do that under emergency action and follow up with it later, and so.
Okay, move
This
right
is just.
along.
Okay.
Sorry,
Duane?
President.
Is there any,
Call for the vote.
is there any other questions?
Yes, sir. Duane, the governor has just declared this winter weather awareness week. We got all our salt in, we've got all our equipment in good shape. And are we ready? Because last winter was brutal.
Yeah. No, we
And
have
this
a-
winter is projected to possibly be even worse.
Yeah.
So,
We have a barn full of salt right now, but we go through that pretty fast.
I
If
understand.
we have several
Treated?
snows.
Yes.
Is it treated salt?
No, it's not.
Straight salt.
And then one other
But we're
question.
usually okay with that through December and early January, and then we start, so probably with the barn full, and we haven't had any snow yet, then when we use this up, we'll probably order, we do have a contract for treated salt,
And
so we'll probably order
at
some
least-
treated salt, and try it.
At least in my district, and I think Magistrate Cullen has had at least one too, we have had too many dead trees dropping on the roads. How are we on Neal and how are we on Webster now?
We haven't done anything to Webster.
Okay.
I'm not sure we can do anything to Webster, because where that tree's at up on the bank like it is, it's very difficult to get to, very dangerous to get to. But we'll check it
Yeah.
further. Now, I'm not so sure still that I found the tree that you had a picture of.
Yeah.
But your description, there's another tree up close to the gentleman you mentioned.
Okay.
That's across the road from him.
Yeah, I think we do have two, because I talked back with the
So we'll
folks.
work on that. We might be able to get the limbs that are actually hanging out over the road, we might be able to get them cut off at
Yeah,
least.
that's critical. Yeah.
Because the rest of it hangs way over the field, we can't get in that field.
And what about, there are 8 or 9 dead ashes on
They're gone.
Neal?
They've been
They're
gone for a while.
Good, great.
The question I have, gentlemen of the court, is, with Duane one day, we went out to Taylor Road and we identified up to 3 trees that need to be removed that are dead on the right of way coming from Harrington Lake toward Danville on the left. It would obstruct the line of sight for people pulling out of Taylor Road. The state said that they would remove them, and yet they went out to inspect to do that, and now they're saying they can't remove them because they are in such a precarious, I'll use the term precarious location near a house. So if the state is uncomfortable in removing those trees, could we consider a professional tree removing service to see what a cost might be to remove those? Because like just a professional tree removing service. Here's the problem. The state went out and said, we'll remove them. And they looked at it, it's on a hillside, literally 30 feet of a 60-foot tree, 30 foot on the other side of the tree is a house. And if it's not felled the right way, it could be really bad.
So it's a liability issue.
It's
then.
a liability issue.
Okay.
It's on state, this is state road, correct?
It is a state road. It is a state road.
Will they pay for that?
Well, their contractor would not cut it.
Their contractor would not cut it, so I don't know.
Don't know
I'd
why.
have to ask Kelly to see if they would, but
Whose liability is it if it fell and hurt somebody, considering the location to the house? Is state
it's
going
state
to cover
because it's
that?
on the right of way. I believe it's on the right of way.
Chris, is that, do
State
you see it
required.
as a liability to the state or to us?
I mean, if the state owns the
Property,
right-of-way
it's to them.
property, then I would think it would be the landholders.
Should that be clarified through a formal letter or a letter that they understand that that's their liability, just to clarify any question down the road?
And I can do that.
The state's
Would it-
liability.
That they understand it's their liability?
Well, we can do that, but if Duane and I reach out to Kelly over at District 7 and make an appeal to him and take a picture and show him where the relationship to the house, and that the tree is definitely dead and needs to be removed for line of sight improvement, hopefully they might pay, if they get a bid a professional tree removal service to come in there. And now it's gonna require blocking that part of that 2-lane road, 34, for a period of time.
There's a lot of traffic on that.
One lane, at least
Yeah.
one lane of it.
But that's better than somebody getting
Did
hurt.
you see the contractor
or
when they
killed.
came in and cut a few of those trees?
Well, yeah, I
I
mean,
did
that's
not.
the problem. Is
I didn't either.
if that tree comes down, you're blocking traffic anyway.
Anyway.
Well, and it
and
can
you
be
hurt
worse than
somebody.
that. With all the water that we've had this year, I'm recalling in my old stomping ground of Louisville, a woman was crushed on Eastern Parkway by a large oak tree that uprooted when she was stopped at a stoplight. There are severe liabilities to all these dead trees that we have.
Yeah.
Thank you for the ones in our right-of-way in the county, and I think the state had better act on this.
Particularly having prior knowledge and discussion on the potential of it happening.
Exactly. It's
Well,
on record now.
liability just went up.
Big time.
We can get some pictures and send them to Kelly and
I would,
talk to
say,
him.
I would say that if, we was willing to get somebody to do it, they would probably help pay for it.
I think they should pay for it, period.
For the
It's
liability
their
of it.
land.
You never know.
Well,
We just
let
have
us take a run. I just want to make everybody aware that
Yeah.
it's been looked at, it's been rejected. But I think Duane and I can take some pictures and send them to Kelly, and then I'll make a personal appeal to him once he sees the pictures and show him. This is something that is just waiting to happen.
There are two
It's
locals-
actually, the tree is in the right of way, but it's on a hillside right in front of 30 feet from a house.
I suggest documentation of everything.
Is it on the homeowners, is it the property they own, is it right at the edge of their property?
Yeah,
or-
it is. It'd have to be
So
pretty
it
close.
could be a question where it's their property or the state then, couldn't it?
Well, the right of way is X number of feet from the center line on a state road. What is it, 50 feet from
50
center line?
Might be more there.
Out there, probably 30 from the center line.
And the road width, 11
See,
with
that
no
road, that
shoulder.
road was rebuilt. It might be 50. They may have 100 foot of right of way through there now.
Well, would they change the right-of-way requirements or when they resurface that road?
Well,
They wouldn't.
now that section was rebuilt, several years ago, but it was rebuilt, so it may have a little bit wider right of way than 60. Normal right of way for a road that level is 60 wide, 60 foot total. But it may have a little more.
And let me revisit for a minute Webster Road, because I'm aware of two very good contractors in this county, and they're not gonna be shy about going up the bank, because that's their profession. And it's my understanding that the school buses that go through there and any of the farmers with a lot of equipment, limbs falling or even that tree being dead, falling across that road could have the same kind of liabilities for us.
This is on Webster?
This is on Webster, yeah. And I've had 2 inquiries about it, so I'm gonna drive back out there and take a look and talk to the 2
Well, the
neighbors.
biggest thing is gonna have to is figure out who the property owner is, and that's an unkept field, and there's no gates. 'Cause that tree's not gonna fall out in the road. That tree's gonna fall in the field.
I understand, yeah, and I've already talked to him about the fence is probably gonna be crushed and that sort of thing, but,
Yeah.
I guess.
Did he own it? Did Mr. Good own that lot?
No,
Okay.
it was a neighbor who made the, concern.
Right.
Well,
And he made it primarily because of school buses.
I'd like to circle back with the state because I was expecting more stuff done on 52. There's quite a few trees that are dead that are just kind of hanging out there that they didn't touch. I kind of thought I brought that up, that they really need to take a look, especially there between Stanford and Clark's Run. There's some stuff on the left-hand side that's just kind of leaning over. They got, I think, 1 tree, but there's several along there. And then, glad we're talking about 34, but Goggin as well, there's some trees that need to be trimmed back that are really hazards. And then,
State road too.
yeah, I mean, most of my problems are state roads. I will say, when I was out yesterday looking at Clark's Run flowing behind my house, there was a tree the size of this room that I was on the phone with somebody, and I just looked, and that tree went right down Clark's Run, because Clark's Run's flowing pretty fast right now. I mean, a tree from here to you, Ronnie, and it was huge, and I was just like, and it looked like it had just come down. So, you know, these rains, and I just had 3 big pines taken down, and I was really glad because after this rain, I was worried about them hitting my house.
Yeah. All up and down Perryville Road, there are dead ash trees. The ash borer, which you're very familiar with, has finally triumphed in Kentucky. There are hundreds of dead ash trees that we're probably going to be contending with over the next few years.
And Lebanon too, and you've got some issues out there on Lebanon Road too that I've noticed when I was out there the other day. So.
Well,
How many calls yesterday did you get from bus drivers? All
About
trees
6.
down.
How about 6?
Okay. That was on the phone yesterday.
Yeah.
Trees
Alright.
down.
Back to equipment rates.
Did we vote on it? I don't know if we voted or not.
We haven't.
We haven't voted on the equipment rates. Did you have a motion to approve the putting together of a equipment rate list for potential use in the future? Any other comments about that? We got on to trees, but I guess it takes chainsaws to get trees down. So, anyway, be no other discussion on the rental equipment list. All those in favor of putting that together signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign, and motion carries. Thank you.
I'll get our contractor to go out and look at that. See what
Appreciate
he
it.
charges
Thank
to do that, to look at that tree. And we'll look at the other, we might be able to take the other one down, but it's in the front yard. It's kind of a little more tedious, but.
Are we starting to
don't
get
want to tear up the front
Constitution Square wrapped up for the winter? Or is it getting wrapped up or ready?
Yeah. Yeah,
I know we got the
we've got it.
decorations up. It looks nice. I haven't seen it at night, but it looks great.
It's very nice.
Do we keep power on? Because we've got several buildings that have water and they're vacant now.
Oh, yeah, no, the power's always on.
Okay, good.
Matter of fact, we probably we have to watch the weather. There's a couple of them we have to keep a little bit of water running.
Yeah, I'm sure.
They're not real well
Insulated.
insulated in the basements where the water's at.
I'd like to thank you all and Julie for the decorations. You probably had a hand in. You didn't with it really looks nice. Thank you.
Downtown looks good.
The chamber was involved with the buildings, and then we did the pose.
The pose nice addition. I don't think they've been done before. Maybe they had. I can't remember.
Yeah, we have.
But it looks nice.
Yeah.
So thank you.
Very good.
All right, thank you.
All right,
We're gonna hang around and see if Tim actually shows up. Send the jailer in. There he is.
Morning.
Good morning.
I do have some good news.
All right.
So we
Like
had
good news.
we had 4. We hired 4. They started training yesterday.
Great.
We had 6, and 2. One of them actually lives in Mercer County and works at another jail, and he wanted to come closer, but I think they offered him some money, more money to stay. So I told our folks, don't even think about doing that. That we've got magistrates lining up to come cover your shifts. So, but we do have 4 in training. Right. So, but we do have 4 in training this week. So they're going to go through 120 hours, and then they'll be ready to work. So, and they're good quality people.
Good.
So,
good.
So that's good news.
Yeah.
And then also,
Where'd you have to start them at?
well, we're doing the 14, and then after 6 months they'll get a 10% or 5%, which will take them to 1470. But like I say, when we work on our budget, I'd like to have the starting pay at 15, just to be competitive, and then just move those bottom end people up that's only maybe been there for a year or 2 that would cost somebody new making a little bit more than them, just so that's my goal. That way I think that'll make us competitive with everybody else, because I know like Woodford County's paying 18, Clark County's paying 18. Most jails, it's about our size. Well, they're a little bit smaller than us bed-wise, but population-wise, I think they're pretty close. So they're paying more than us. So, to be competitive and make sure we attract and retain quality people, I think that's where we need to be.
I don't understand why so many people fight this raising the minimum wage. What is it still, 7.25?
Well, this is a little different job. This is not an entry-level job.
I'm getting off subject altogether, but everything needs to be raised. For example, McDowell's real proud that they can start somebody at $10 an hour. My God, nobody's gonna work for $10 an hour. No wonder we've got so many people that's not working.
Yeah, and with inflation too, the dollar doesn't go as far. So, But that's some good news. I just wanted to share that, so
You
you
ain't
all.
gonna be able to get your 50-cent cup of coffee paying people $15 an hour, I'll tell you that right now.
That's right.
Well, you can't do it in that industry.
Okay, what about a truck?
Well, Judge, one more thing. If I can give you, I'm gonna give you our numbers today too, so
Yep.
you all can kind of be aware. We've got 105 state. I'm housing 1 for another county. We have 83 Boyle and 40 Mercer. So,
How many from Boyle?
well, about
83.
83. 40 from Mercer.
And then we've seen the 3 bids. You all should have those in your binders. And I'm gonna add
COVID count
0.
Correct. And new variant, you know.
We don't have any.
But you guys are still.
We're 0. We don't have any positive COVID cases.
I don't think the new variant's into Kentucky yet.
It's not.
Who knows?
We have a total of
True.
229, and that down quite a bit.
That's kind of where we've been here lately. We were down lower during COVID when COVID was really active. But that's about average where we stay because we have 220 beds. So that's kind of been our new number. But the past year and a half has really skewed that with the COVID cases and releasing people in the state, picking up inmates and stuff, moving them. So. So.
Hold on.
Okay.
You're giving numbers. I'm asking questions. Are we still seeing the judges not committing as many people to jail or releasing them? What's wrong with that, Chris? Like, I guess my question is there a fear that we're still kind of holding back on incarcerating based on COVID, or are these kind of some real numbers?
I have to take my hat off to the county attorneys. They've both done a really good job on getting people out that don't really need to be there, the nonviolent people. And I think too, by having, of course, we're participating in the Healing Communities Grant with UK. So we actually have somebody there Monday through Friday that they pay for that's helping link folks to treatment. So when they get out, they already have a plan and they can have them ready to go into whatever treatment they need. So there's some different things there. But like I say, our county attorney especially does a great job with our numbers. And if they need to be in jail, they need to be in jail. If they're violent,
right?
Or danger to the public, yes. But those that are battling addiction and mental health, we're able to kind of get them out because they don't need to be there. They need to be in treatment.
Well, this is great because when you run for jailer, this was one of your priorities, is to make sure we're not just locking up people that have issues that we can help deal with. And it's one of those little success stories I like seeing. So that's what when we came in, we were at like 400 people in the jails, and it sounds like the collaboration between y'all are really.
And I was speaking with Kay this morning out in the hallway, who she's retired from New Vista, and she was telling me, giving me some facts that 60 to 70% of the folks that are addicted have some kind of mental illness as well. So there's a co-occurring there.
Well, when we started talking at the beginning, we were looking at building a jail with 300-400 beds, and this kind of, I still think we probably need to be at 300, but we're probably going to end up saving the taxpayers a lot of dollars by being able to.
If we can maintain this, and then also, Judge, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, this we're going to set an FOP or a RFP for the ankle monitors.
Ankle bracelets, yeah.
And basically we're looking under $10 for each person. So if we added that to my budget versus spending what we spend to house them, to feed them, and then the medical treatment would save the county money, and it'll keep us from having to build a larger jail. Now, of course, I'm over 220 beds and 229. I'm over, and actually, if we're at 85%, I'm full. If you go by the study that was done by Brentstetter Carroll, because you have to have room for those spiking numbers, like for holidays and different things. If KSP or somebody does a roundup, to cover that. So we still probably need 50 beds. I'm somewhere around that.
I'll understand that because I do not want to spend my holidays with you.
Me either. It's not at the jail, but so but I think instead of having to build a $40 million facility, I think if we get everybody else moved out of that facility, out of the Government Services Center, that would give us more room to rehab and bring the existing facility up to code, add room for training for our staff and some different things, and then have room for treatment so folks can actually do treatment there. I have more room instead of a closet,
Well,
and GED, that's a big thing too, because folks are coming out with a GED, and I have a bachelor's degree, and I don't think I could get a GED in jail because it is tough, and because you have to go back to a cell with people, and it's hard. And so if they get a GED in jail, they've done something. It's a big accomplishment for them.
Does this go back on? Is this work with Hunt as well?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Of course, Gail Jackson does our GED for us.
Yeah.
But to have room for the MRT and portals and the different things we're providing inside for our community, it makes a big difference. And
my question was basically good work on
Thank you.
getting people the help they need instead of just locking them up. I appreciate that very much.
Well, it has to stop somewhere, and we have to provide those. If not, it's the wheel's just going to keep spinning.
I would love, I don't know how we could do this, but I would love to actually see some sort of study to see, how people have kind of gotten themselves on track because of the opportunities instead of just being continually be thrown into jail. And it's just a good, John always talks about telling our story. That's a good story right there to tell that.
Oh, yeah.
These people instead of
I gotta believe it's
continuously.
a lot better than it ever has been.
Yeah.
I mean, how many people are not coming through the county attorney's office anymore and just being,
But it's taken the entire community. It's taken, not just the jailers, taken the fiscal court. It's taken buy-in from the community and our different partners we have. So
our ASAP community.
Yes.
Yeah. Especially, with Shepherd's House and all those folks that participate out there. We're fortunate to live in a community that's forward-thinking on this, that wants to provide treatment and break that cycle. So,
It might be worthwhile, and I think he would come. Denyo is probably our best, one of our largest employers in terms of turnaround folks. And perhaps we could get Joey Harris to come in, at least give us anecdotal, if not empirical data that would show the positive aspects of the programs that have gone on, and because he's he's one of the leaders, if not the leader in this community, of bringing people out and giving them jobs, and they're successful. And I feel confident that, Judge, if you invited him, he'd come.
I'm not just thinking the jobs, but one of the biggest statistics that we have is that when people have a mom and a father in the home, it really helps break that cycle. And seeing the some of the women locked up in that jail breaks my heart, because in order for the compassion of a woman to kind of get to that stage, it means that there's been a lot of things that have happened to her to get to that area. So it kind of breaks my heart in a lot of ways. So, but that's kind of, the second chance jobs is good, but really, these kids that need their parents.
And I know you all spend a lot of time with EDP. Where is our workforce going to come from? It's going to come from those men and women coming out of jail.
That's what you said. It's tax turn them into taxpayers.
Familiar, Tom? If I could, if y'all want to really learn about all the people who help in this world, come to an ASAP meeting.
Absolutely.
Meet monthly. That's what they talk about for almost 2 hours, hour and a half, 2 hours. It's what I basically said at our last meeting. We need to start learning about that side of the county that we don't always. It's not a sit around the table, dinner time talk. There is another side. ASAP points a lot of this out, and Brian always he's either there or somebody comes from the jail. You really find out how many people are involved in trying to help with these issues. So come to it. Also, I'm going to suggest again, if you haven't read the study that was done 3 or 4 years ago, read it, please.
Well, I have a question for you, because our newest issue that it's new to us, I think, is our homeless issue. Are you getting a lot of people kind of coming in because it's cold out, because it's wintertime, and they're generally homeless, and that's why they're committing things to kind of come in? Or
we will now that the weather's turning cold. Once it turns cold and stays cold, you'll have folks like the homeless. They'll come in on shoplifting, and this will happen every year. They'll get out, and they'll be out long enough to make it to Walmart to shoplift again to come back, because it's their only option, because they know they're going to be warm, they're going to be safe, you know, they're going to get 3 meals a day, they're going to have a bed and a shower, and it does.
So is this something where you guys are going to start working with Roger and with the housing authority now that they've kind of got this idea of the homeless issue? And
yeah, Roger's kind of my go-to guy.
Yeah.
Anytime there's something that I don't know the answer right off, because it's not simple, I'll call Roger and say, Roger, here's my problem. And he's always been very, very good to help. He can help me find those answers, because he does a great job for us.
Yeah.
And that's
Okay.
a great partnership too.
All right.
Shepherd's House.
Well, thank you.
Right.
Sorry to get away from this, but
So-
it's important.
These are important issues. So
Yeah.
Yeah, and the reason you're here today?
so I had the 3 bids submitted.
Yeah, we know what, wait about an hour ago, didn't we?
And so I want to ask, I think the one we drove a lot of vehicles and looked at them and the prices, and I think the one I'm going to ask for the fiscal court to approve is the Bob Allen 2016 GMC Sierra 1500.
Make that motion.
I'll second it.
You know,
Okay. Motion made by Magistrate Gay and seconded by Magistrate Ellis to approve, and this is with canteen funds.
Yeah, this will be paid for out of canteen funds. It'll be used for our community inmate work crew.
So just looking at these, I mean, I guess the Bob Allen, we're looking at a 2016 with 65,000 miles for 32, right?
38.
32,599.
It's 32,599.
My bad, yeah.
And then you've got,
2 for 38.5.
yeah, but one of them's a 2020 with 23,000 miles. It's still under warranty technically.
And I think one of those was a diesel, and we decided to go away from the diesel because, one, we were worried if something broke how quick we could get it fixed, and two, I was afraid somebody would try to put regular gas into it, not because we only have one
Then you
diesel,
lost the engine
and they're used to putting in gas. So we've had, like I say, I took my maintenance guy with me. It's maintenance deputy, and we drove them, and he said this would probably be the best one.
And only one is 4-wheel drive, correct?
I know the one we're purchasing is,
Oh,
or
it is.
I'm recommending. Yes.
Okay, I missed that on it. We discussed by text. 4 years ago, I bought an older truck, and this is new for me in 53 years to buy extended warranties. But thank the Lord I did that, because I'm taking it in now for the third issue that's come up. I've got my extended warranty. It's paid $100 out of my pocket each time, and a lot more money is going to be out of this next one because I don't know the term, but motherboard has gone out. I've been driving the Western Kentucky Parkway, and I was going 120 miles an hour, and everybody was passing me because that was one of the indications that there was something wrong with the computer. And that was one of 4 different glitches that I've had. And my extended warranty was in the hundreds of dollars, and it's already paid for itself multiple times over. And with this being the low bid item, you and I don't necessarily agree on this, but we've seen this on some of our other vehicles in the past. Had we had an extended warranty, we might have come out ahead. Maybe it's contingent on it, or maybe we can act on it because we don't know what that amount of money
Well,
will be.
in this case, if we were using taxpayer dollars, I would be for it. But where we're using canteen money, so I kind of look at it as we are self-insuring, or you know what I'm saying? Because that money I could use that money to repair the vehicle, so it's not going to cost the taxpayers. So I would rather take the chance and save the money and maybe never need it, because like I say, it does have the miles on it, but the vehicle's in really good shape. So I could kind of self-insure and pay for it out of canteen, you know, and hopefully come out ahead and never have to use it.
Ron, are you can you take money out of the canteen fund, put your decals on it?
Yes, everything, since this vehicle's being purchased out of canteen, it's going to be used for the inmate program.
So you'll
Everything,
stripe it and-
yes, everything, lights,
Now,
equipment.
who will do that for you?
We'll get somebody here local. We usually order the decals. There's a company that prints the decals out of Lawrenceburg.
Right.
So we order them, and then
The
our
guy
folks
over
put
at
them over.
Lawrenceburg won't put the lights and everything
Well,
on.
he will, but I can also get the lights off of Amazon, so sometimes I can find cheaper on it. I shop it, and then I have somebody that knows how to do all this the right way.
Yeah.
So, and then I'll take it here. I think with the one we just had lettered up, Kirby Stafford here in town did that
He's
for us.
good. Yeah, he's
So,
good.
and he's real reasonable with
Yeah.
us. So, everything that goes for that program is purchased out of Canteen.
Okay.
So
You'll
like
do
even
that
the
when you
lawnmowers,
get-
weed eaters, everything.
When you get the vehicle, you'll do that pretty quickly, I suppose.
Yes, as soon as we can get it in. Of course, the holidays, but yeah, but as soon as we can.
Which one's the diesel? I'm having trouble finding it.
It's the last one.
The Dodge
The white truck.
2020.
What? Help me with this. Where's it say diesel?
No, it's not diesel, it's Hemi.
Well, maybe I didn't turn that one in. Maybe
It's a Hemi.
it was a Bob Allen one too, so.
Oh, okay. All right.
So,
You
yeah.
didn't turn the diesel in.
No, I didn't turn it in.
The interior says diesel gray, so I was like, okay, you're right.
That's what I was reading.
Yeah.
So Tom's over here talking about and believe me, I like mine local, but he's over here talking about buying a warranty on it. You know, for $5,000 more, you're getting a newer truck with a less miles still under warranty for a while. I understand it's the lower bid, but you're looking at a 6-year-old truck versus.
And that's the thing, it's a work truck,
Okay.
so, it doesn't.
Probably was a work truck too.
It's, it's gonna get some dents and bangs and putting stuff in, so, that's just kinda.
Well, you gotta realize, the county's not paying for this.
No, I know.
This is coming out of his canteen. The way I look at it, if it's coming out of your budget, your canteen, you would have the say so what truck you wanna buy.
Yeah, I do too, and that, you want to buy the 16 GMC, is that what
Yes.
you want?
Yes.
I think it's a wise decision.
I think a lot of times we get caught in the lower dollar figures.
Move right along.
Yeah, this is, it has the tow package, everything on it. I'm not gonna have to add all that extra stuff,
Yeah.
the wiring and the
And all
harnesses,
night.
and it's kinda got everything we already need, so it'll save me some money.
All right.
I make a motion, we,
Already got
We've
it.
Already got
got a
it.
motion
You already
and a
got it?
second,
I
so
call
we're
for
ready.
question
If there's
then.
no further discussion,
we're
call for
discussing.
question.
question.
All those in favor of this, approving this motion on this, purchase of this truck with canteen funds, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign, and motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you all.
Have a great day.
Phil doesn't have his coffee over there, that's what it is.
Thank you. All right, next we have, our, Deputy Judge Executive, Julie Wagner.
I just have two things. First is to remind you that we have Mingle and Jingle next week, December 16th from 11 to 1. It's your party. You're hosting it, so I hope you'll all be there.
How many are gonna be in the KMCA, because we'll have to leave a little bit early or something? Okay, all right, thank you.
It's at Boyle County Fire Station.
On Lebanon Road,
Yes.
11 to 1.
This is a time to come and partake of all of your staff's fantastic creations. It's potluck. You're providing the meat. And, Missy, you have something?
I was just gonna say, I thought we would do like chicken tenders, probably from Lee's Famous Recipe, unless you guys wanna do something
It's on the
different.
16th, Julie, Miss Julie.
Yes, sir.
I'm gonna
That's the one.
apologize, but I've got a meeting in Frankfurt that day,
Okay.
so we'll be gone all day.
You gonna make a list what you need potluck to bring, is that what you're gonna do?
She's got a list.
She's
yeah.
got one.
Okay.
I've got
Yeah.
one running right now with everybody's food that they're bringing, and then I think Julie and I are gonna try to backfill some of that stuff
I wish
that
we'd
we
made that
don't
on
have.
Friday. That's fine.
Chicken tenders
Is
good.
chicken
I mean, it's
tenders
fine with me.
okay with everybody?
Yeah.
And the court's purchasing the meat, so we'll just do it and let everybody know what that is. I think we're gonna do it for about, I don't know, 150 people, 60 people, something like that.
So I hope it's just more than the
we
court
have,
bringing food.
we have one section that I won't name that says that they are unable to attend, but I think it will be, feel like it's gonna be pretty well attended by a lot of folks.
I do too. The list is,
Change the date,
I've already
and I'll
filled
be
up
there.
one front page and half of the other with people volunteering to bring food, so.
The second thing I have, and this is just for information purposes, you'll be pleased to know that our IT director has ordered new microphones. They have shipped. They're portable, so we can take our meetings on the road. And he was able to talk the price down to just right at about a little over $1,000. So we're getting nice coverage in this room. We can take them on the road. And when you talk about positions, having a dedicated IT person is fantastic. And I've never worked at a place that has one, and it's great. So Bill has worked really hard to get those. Hopefully we'll have them at the next meeting, but if not, in January. So.
What about our iPads?
I think they're in.
They're in, they're being configured now, so when he hands it to you, you open it up, put
Yes.
power on, your emails will be there, you can communicate with it, everything will be set up. And if you need something that's not on there, you tell him and he'll push it right to you.
Yep.
And that way, you know, it's gonna make it about as simple as it can be made.
I think he's gonna do a training for all of us
Yes.
together, just
In
so
here.
that we're all familiar with how
Yeah,
we're
for
gonna
us
drop
old
it in the
folks.
box.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
have a special lesson. I'll have to have a
They don't
special
need it over there.
No, smart people, yeah.
Okay, next we have,
Bill should get hazard pay for having to deal with those guys.
Oh, gee.
Darlene Lanham, our treasurer.
Okay. I actually have a resolution. Do I need to read this?
Yes.
Okay. This is a resolution to obtain a corporate credit card, whereas it is advisable to obtain credit card privileges for purposes of charging certain expenses relative to travel and training for the affairs of the Boyle County Fiscal Court, whereas the undersigned hereby certifies that he or she is the duly appointed custodian of the finances of the Boyle County Fiscal Court, thereby authorized to pay any approved expenditures following the guidelines of the county, be it, now therefore be it resolved, that the Boyle County Judge Executive, Howard P. Hunt III, apply for and obtain a corporate credit card with a minimal credit limit of up to $10,000, and that the following persons be authorized to charge on that account any travel and training expenses that are reasonably related to carrying out the business of the Boyle County Fiscal Court, and that the treasurer is directed to monitor said account and pay such proper charges as they fall due, in accordance with the laws of the Commonwealth of Kentucky. And then it lists Boyle County Judge Executive, Boyle County Treasurer, and then the motions.
Make a motion.
This is one card, it'll be here. And the reason this came to light recently was because of our conference we had at the Galt House, which was an excellent conference. But the Galt House's policies did not allow us to use anything but personal credit cards, which was a kind of a foul, in my personal opinion. Everybody else will take a check in advance, or they'll do whatever. A lot of counties have one credit card to say, put it on this card, and that makes things much more simpler, and as far as accountability and everything else. And it is something that we probably should have done a long time ago, to tell you the truth. But does anybody have any questions about the resolution? Yes, sir.
I agree with the effort, okay. I guess when I read this, the question that came to my mind is that if the check is gonna be written to pay the card when the bill comes, does that not come before the court for us as part of our checks we approve?
It does.
Okay, will it be listed what it's for? I'm just trying to protect that it's done right.
It would be paid to the order of such and such bank, wherever the credit card would come from.
But he wants an itemized
And
list
then-
of what charges are.
Right.
Will
Right.
the court vote and see that where
Yes.
it went?
I think
It's
since we
part
only
of
have
our-
one card, that's no problem to be able to put the annotations of each charge on there.
Right.
Okay, this is a bill that the court pays, so they're tuned in to seeing where the money was charged and what it was for. It's just another safety feature. Does that make sense to you all?
And this is something that I am familiar with and I worked with. So It's not anything obscure to me, so, yeah, I understand what you're
Do you
looking for.
understand? I just think it protects everybody a little bit better.
Correct.
I'll let you explain that. Missy's got help, I think, an answer for you.
So when I make girls' reservations, at the end of that reservation, I can print the total charge for your
Okay.
rooms. What I would think we could do is every time I make a reservation, we print that. And then when the credit card bill comes in, those vouchers are attached to that, and you can see the descriptions of what all's been paid.
Plus, it saves so much paperwork.
Is that
We
okay?
we gotta turn our vouchers in, plus they charged us tax, so she had to take care of all that.
Right, back that out.
Back
Yeah,
all
back
that
that
out, it was just it was a big headache, and there's no sense in that when we can do this.
Jaco has, you applying for only one card.
Correct.
Yes.
Jaco only has two cards, the director and the treasurer maintain those cards. And every month we get a bill, I'm talking about the executive committee gets those bills. We go over those and see what they charge them as far as the problems that we had.
Previously.
Judge, you might have been there at that time.
Right after that.
Yeah, that's what happened. Now, will that card be maintained in the office or?
Darlene.
Yes.
Maintained into the safe.
It'll be in the safe.
Okay.
It'll be locked up. And also, just so that you know also, when the auditors come in,
Yeah.
they actually will pull, anytime you have credit cards, they pull all those credit cards. They will want to see those documentations that go along with that.
I just
So
want everybody
that will
protected,
fall,
so-
that will fall along with that. So that's not a
Thank
problem.
you.
I think it's a good idea. I agree with the judge. You've been done a long time.
I make a motion.
I had a question.
Go ahead.
Tom, is the word minimal correct, or should it say maximum?
I was gonna say, that actually bothered me. It said
Oh.
minimal up to, so really, I think that the maximum.
It should be maximum rather than minimal.
Yeah.
Right, we
Yeah.
should.
Alright,
You see that on there?
Sorry, I step on your toes, Tom.
That's right.
Okay.
Okay, motion been made and seconded.
Okay, motion was made by Magistrate Short and seconded by Magistrate Simmons, or, is that right?
He's all excited, you ain't getting this card.
I don't want your card, bro.
Any other discussions on the resolution as corrected and amended with the?
I have a question.
Okay.
So, when we do reservations, will I be doing those? Because if so, I mean, if not, Darlene's gonna have to do them. She'll have to do all the reservations if I'm not
I
authorized
mean,
to use
physically,
the
I see
card.
it coming out of the safe, you give them the code and put it back in the safe.
Well,
You would be.
I think she needs to be added on there because she is bonded, and it's, because she handles money, so she needs to be
I
on
mean, I
there
handle money every day.
as part of the
so-
process of approval.
I would go ahead
So-
and add her on there.
Just add Missy,
Yeah, I don't
Melissa
see no
Galloway
problem.
on
I
there,
don't see no problem with that. She should be on it.
okay?
She's gonna be the one to make the reservation for us, I assume.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, I always do.
All right, anything else? Then we'll vote. We have a motion, and, before the court to approve, the resolution as amended. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, like sign, and that motion carries. Anything else, Miss Darlene?
Actually, yes, I do. Just so everyone knows, we do have joint jail this Friday, 10 o'clock. It's at Mercer County. I have packets basically ready within, I'll need about 15 minutes and they'll be done. So I don't know if I'm going to email that to them or if they're going to pick that up, but I do have those ready. Also, we had something happened. Not sure exactly what, but along the way, we did not receive from the Department of Revenue, property valuation, a letter from them about franchise bank deposit taxes that are due. This usually comes out at the end of September. Payment, if they pay by the end of December, they get 2% discounts. All these banks do. So, totaling this, it looks like we are due $169,283 with their discounts or up to as much as $172,737.76. I have this letter now. I'm going to email as many of these banks as possible so that they can go ahead and get this in. A lot of them have called me. Honestly, if they hadn't called me, I wouldn't have realized it hadn't gone out. So I do want to thank those 2 or 3 banks that reached out to me to let me know. So I'm going to get this in the mail today, hopefully get it emailed out today so that we receive this money in by the end of the year. So.
Thank you. Okay, thank you. Anything else?
That'll be it.
Okay. All right, thank you. Let's see. All right, comes down to, it says committee reports. This is the first of the month, so we'll be district reports, and we'll start over this way and just work our way around.
Thank you, Judge. All right, yesterday, Birthplace of Kentucky Committee met, and we met in Grayson Tavern. I've been in there many times before, but we actually toured around, and it was one of the reasons I mentioned the water situation to Duane. We actually have a sink downstairs and a sink upstairs. There's a small bathroom as well. Interesting discussion by the Birthplace of Kentucky Committee. They want to know from us some direction that we're thinking about the use of all the buildings. And I know, Judge, you're going to get an email from Ben Miles about that and a few other of the other issues. A pretty significant discussion about Grayson Tavern, and the sentiment of the entire group that was there was that we have an asset there that we ought to be willing to rent out for special events, wedding receptions, meetings of civic groups in the community. Some we'd waive fees, some we would not. And I see that as a revenue stream for us that we really should look into, and I think they're going to make the recommendation that we look at Grayson Tavern that way. Very significant discussion about security. Judy Seawicki has queried the state with respect to what do they have? What do they have inventoried? What are they holding that was taken out when the state still owned the entire Constitution Square? And apparently there's an itemized list of 31 objects, but very bluntly, the state would be reluctant to turn them back to us until we get better security on any and all buildings where these artifacts, which date back to the time of Constitution Square, would be released back to us. So that's going to be part, I think, of the recommendation.
Do we know what that better security criteria is?
Do not know at this point, but Judy Seawicki is doing more research on that. But and obviously there's going to be a cost. We've talked about cameras and things, but some of those buildings.
What cameras are already purchased?
Yeah.
What that artifact you're talking about?
At this point, we're not certain. I have not seen the list, and Judy did not have it with her. Everything from crockery and things like that to perhaps some furniture. We're not certain. Ben Miles is going to work with an attorney to come up with 2 documents. One would be if somebody wants to give us something, and the other one would be if somebody wants to put on long-term loan items. I ran into this when I was on the board of the Farnsley Mormon House in Louisville, and there were some pretty disappointed people who wanted to put their 1950s furniture into an 1805 building on the river in Louisville. So we had to make sure that we had the word deaccession is possible. In other words, Bill or Charlie or whoever it is, you give it to us and we might sell it for the profit of the house. So we're carefully going to craft and probably get some templates from other museums. There's very strong interest in more museum quality to the visits that would happen, and I certainly support that. So those items came up. George Coomer is pushing hard, and I agree with him 100%. And Judge, he's asked that we might get in touch with the commissioner to try to get Constitution Square not any longer a state facility, but get it back on the map that's put out by the state of Kentucky on all the places that you can visit. And I think that could be doable since we were once on it, and it would be a feather in our cap to have that capability. I would like to personally thank, with respect to the judge and I being in the Pulse of the People in Perryville last Thursday, I'd like to thank Bill because he helped them set up the technology to get us broadcast, and you can go back and visit that. And anybody who hasn't talked to the judge about scheduling something, we're going to still try to do Forkland in January. And hey, folks, it's well worth it. And thank you, Jamie, and thank you, Jason, for attending. I think it's good for all of us to cross-pollinate and share.
I
Thank
agree.
you, Judge.
I thought it was a good first one out of the chute, so to speak, from COVID-19 lockdowns, and
getting good feedback.
It was good. It was good feedback. What did you guys think? You were both there.
Yeah, I thought it was good. Good discussion, good feedback. Good to be there.
Good questions asked. So.
That's what it's about.
Could I ask a question about the committee? Did you all talk about any work being done on the buildings, or?
I mentioned
we have had off and on discussions about that.
I mentioned my concerns about the roofs,
Right.
number one. I did not mention the sidewalks. I wish that I had mentioned that. I have a personal bias that rather than spending $2,000 to $30,000, that we forego that, perhaps get someone out there to move. There are not 100 bricks that would trip anybody out there right now. I've walked up and down it, I've walked into the entrances, and it's just not doable under the Preservation Act of Kentucky to do it the way we would really like to do it, to make it permanent. And those bricks, any way we do it, are gonna shift if we don't do it in what I would see as a compatible to history fashion. But I suppose Birthplace will want to enter into that discussion, but I'd say we contract with somebody or get bids on repairing just those areas where somebody might be tripped.
Well, it's certainly worth considering, because the first 100 feet was to replace that with some significant effort and take out the roots below it. They were pushing some bricks up in front of the row houses. It was about $10,000 for 100 feet.
Yeah. That's all I have.
They require us to be authentic, and they didn't have all that level of stuff.
They
back
did not
then,
have
so
it.
it's authentic.
All right, that's Gay.
I would just like to ask that we adjourn today in memory of Nelson Rhodes, who's a man that lived a life of service to this community and recently passed away.
89 years old.
I'd like to remember Nelson Rhodes as we adjourn today.
President of Farmers Bank.
Okay.
That's all I have.
All right.
I have a couple things. So, one, tomorrow, VFW lunch. And you confused me on that one. We got training tomorrow, so not next week. But yeah, VFW lunch tomorrow. Not to jump on my buddy Ronnie's toes here, but I'm going. So I'll throw it out there. Junction Fire Department on the 11th is having their all-you-can-eat pancake breakfast. Plan on taking them up on that.
Yep. And dinner that night.
That's my carb loading. And then dinner that night, correct.
Junction City's got one on what, 11th?
On the 11th, they've got their all-you-can-eat pancake breakfast.
$5.
Yep, from the fire department.
To 11 o'clock.
Fire department's doing great things down there. Them
What
and the
day do they
auxiliary.
have bring the canned food in? There's some.
They're doing it the same day.
That night at 5 p.m.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
it'll
they're also having a dinner that night as well. I'll just mention this briefly, and then Ronnie can give all the specifics,
Alrighty.
because I plan on going. Because the great thing about Junction is not far from where I'm at, so I like to participate down there and to the good people at Junction, especially when the fire department's involved. Speaking of Junction, airport, one of the discussions that has been coming up over at the city with their talk of annexation of the airport, which I'll just mention I'm firmly against. But a lot of question has been how many of the actual people from the city side have gone out to the airport to look at it, had a tour or whatever, and I thought back to us. I don't know how many of us have actually been out to the airport to see the great, fantastic facility we have out there. I would strongly encourage you to reach out to Rob or Christian or someone out there and ask for a tour of everything that's there and plans and ideas that they have going forward. We have a fantastic airport board. You know, we're very lucky to have many good boards, but that board handles a lot of money and does it really well. A lot of that's from, you know, the examples of Mr. Powell, and we should be grateful that we have Patty on there as well to kind of contribute to and continue her father's dreams. But, you know, make a point to get out there, to look and see what's going on there, and some of the things. You'd be amazed, especially if they just open up those corporate hangars in there. So, and then the one thing I want to talk about now is I've been getting phone calls, and I'm happy to have people share their thoughts and concerns with you all as well, but there is an idea of putting some industrial solar out in my neck of the woods on 52, and it would be pretty much between Clifton and Pope Road. Property is on both sides, is what they're looking, and it's going to basically be a whole big industrial solar, I call it a plant, they keep saying farm, it's not a farm, that will go into Garrett and all the way down into Lincoln County. We're talking about 900 acres, and that's not agricultural, but what they're doing is they're utilizing agricultural land, and so right now I know this week that there's a company out of Oklahoma that's sending an attorney from California to meet with Steve, to essentially look at putting these solar panels right up and down 52, and then, you know, wherever it stretches to. My thought is that we need to put out a moratorium right now, 6 months, 12 months, so we can actually discuss the best options for this. This is not agricultural. This is industrial. And do we allow industrial things to happen on agricultural lands? I've gotten several phone calls from several residents. This is going to result in runoffs. It's going to result in people having trees torn down, so that way these big, huge solar panels can, you know, attract the maximum amount of light. It's a big issue, and I don't want to revisit some of the things we've done in the past where we've started just kind of, you know, coming up with ordinances or whatever. I think we really need to take the time, get in front of it, because most of these panels are going to be up for 20 to 40 years.
Magistrate Cullen, may I comment to it?
Yeah.
We talked about this the other day, Magistrate Cullen and I. On first blush, this is one of the waves of the future of energy. However, to preserve the pristine historic character of our main arteries in and out of this town, where visitors, $44.1 million that we want to get up to about 60 in a few years, there is a magnificent stone fence that has been built, I believe, all of it since I've lived here 20 years, that adds to that pristine country character and historic value of that artery going out of town. I totally support the concept, but I think they need to be off of our right-of-ways where they're tucked away, and I know they can be, Judge. We've talked about it too, where they're not a bane on the view of our tremendous properties all around here. And then, of course, I support Magistrate Cullen's concept about industrial use of farmland. I think we have to really examine that issue before we move forward, and I would support any effort for a moratorium.
And that's kind of what I'm asking. I'm not asking to stop it completely right now. I'm asking for us to pump the brakes. Let's study. Our friends out in Clark County are actually going through this right now. They went the route of putting out some ordinances, and their fiscal court essentially stopped it, said let's put a moratorium out there so we can do all the fact finding, and then we can move forward from there. I would just hate to have somebody put something in, and then we have no option of kind of having these discussions because the contracts have already been signed or whatever. So, I mean, my idea was that we put a 12-month moratorium on large-scale industrial solar greater than 10 acres to allow planning and zoning to adopt some rules and regulations in the county zoning ordinance on these properties. That's
You make a motion, I'll second.
That's my motion.
I second.
Okay, we have a motion, everybody's heard the motion that was read by Magistrate Cullen and seconded by Magistrate Ellis. I will recuse myself from voting on this for the sole purpose that I'm at least tentatively involved in the industry considerations, so I will not vote or voice my opinion.
I've always felt like that if I buy a piece of property, that is my property. It's not for you guys or me to tell you what I can do and cannot do on that property as long as everything's legal. So I just don't understand why that we think that we try to rule and regulate what some farmer's gonna do. This farmer could be a person that's getting up in age and he's too old anymore to farm, and farming's not too productive anymore, and he wants to lease his property out. I don't see that I've got the right or can get the right to tell him that he can't do what he wants to do with his farm. I just don't. Well, I have problems with that.
I understand that completely, and I share that same view, because when I've talked to, yesterday I had 7 phone calls alone, but I said that, I said as a person that believes in liberties, I have a problem with that. The question that I have to, the reason I'm bringing this up is, are these solar panels actually agricultural, or is it industrial? Because what we're allowing is if somebody wants to continue to farm on their property, and to be honest, we have a planning and zoning, so we tell people what to do with their property all the time. Ask people out there by the radio station that wanted to put a Dollar General out there. There's supposed to be rules in place that if you want to do industrial things, you have to have it zoned properly. And that's kind of where I'm at with this, is if we're going to allow industrial things to happen on agricultural, then we do away with our planning and zoning.
You could write into it offsets and all kinds of things to, again, take arteries like the ones that are bringing people in and out of our town. Those same farmers might have land that would be off the line of sight to accomplish their goal, the investments that they'd get off of it. We've got one of the most beautiful counties in all of Kentucky, and I've traveled all over the United States, and I've seen these where the farm, as they call them, and it's not a farm, where the panel farm was over 10 acres, and it's a blight on that particular piece of property where I saw that.
And we're talking, they can be up to 2 stories tall. And people that were actually just texting me this morning with the Dearborns out on Clifton, they're gonna, it's basically, again, they're gonna be looking right down on it. It's gonna be shining back into their house. I mean, there's some issues, and that's why we have planning and zoning, so people that are around these can talk and voice their concerns. If not, if we just allow this to be, one of these things, because again, it's not farming, it's industrial. This is not agricultural. This is actually tearing up property, and these properties will be under contract for 20 to 40 years. So
they have to do that to amortize it.
Yeah. So, and we don't. I encourage you to look. I think Clark County Coalition's done a good job at kind of putting this, of what they've researched out there, and I encourage you to kind of look at their Facebook page and kind of read some of the things. There's really no benefit to the county on this either. We're not seeing really any tax revenue or any, this will get pumped back into the grid, and we're not going to see any reductions in rates or anything from the electrical. But
you could.
Well,
if you imposed it by contract, you could.
Well,
but it's in, and this is my thing, and John and I kind of talked a little bit about this earlier. It's industrial things that we're allowing to happen on agricultural land, because it's a kind of a new wave. It's a new thing that's happening out there that we didn't foresee when we wrote some of our planning and zoning regulations.
Well, myself, I don't think we really know enough about it.
Yeah.
To make a decision right now on passing any kind of ordinance or anything on this.
Right.
I think, I think it's something, once we learn more about it, we may can bring it up later on.
And that's,
But I don't think we need to vote on this right now.
Well, that's the
my
idea
opinion.
of the moratorium. The moratorium just stops anything from happening until.
Well,
we
that's
can
what
talk
I'm
more
saying.
about
I don't think we need to even do that right now.
They've got an attorney coming to town.
They've got an attorney coming to town tomorrow, so if he puts a contract on something, our talks are done. We can't do anything.
Whatever. That's my
I
opinion.
just,
That's
I'm
my
just-
opinion on
I'm
it.
just trying to give you the facts, on what it is. If we,
Yeah, I agree. I agree with both sides on this. I
Yeah.
think that we do need to pause, but I also agree with Magistrate Short that this is another one of those times where I wish we would have had more of this in advance of the meeting, because I do think this kind of needs to be an agenda item. This is one of those items that it's a big issue, and I think I agree with everything Magistrate Cullen is saying. I think we do need to get out in front of this. I think our planning and zoning process is an important part that has protected this community for years. It's an important part of this community. Planning and zoning is economic development as well, and it's important and vital that we have that and that it functions well as we move forward. And this, there are lots of aspects of this that we need to really dig into and get a handle on. So I guess, I'm really torn whether, to vote for this. I would kind of like to see us just table this and put this off and get more information and work with planning and zoning and make sure that everybody knows that this, we do want to protect our view sheds. We want to do all of those type of things that we, to protect the integrity and beauty of the community, but we also need to allow our landowners some freedoms to do things with their land that is in their personal best interest and financial best interest.
and the moratorium doesn't stop that. It allows us to have the conversation without things obstructing it. That's,
You're stopping any construction or anything, you're putting
but
everything on a freeze.
there's no construction happening right now. It's the talks of once we start allowing that construction to happen, we've lost our ability to make any changes. Because if they do construction, or if they put in a contract, or if they do anything, not sure what's gonna happen on Wednesday, but if they do anything, then we've lost our ability to have these conversations. We've lost the ability to allow our constituents to have the voice and echo their concerns that I've heard. We've lost the opportunity to educate ourselves on what these industrial solar companies really are and what they're doing.
To represent our constituents, this is a forward-moving motion to assure that we have our eyes wide open, that we have the legal circumstances in our hands to avoid devastation to the sightline that we currently have on all our main arteries. And if I could get Magistrate Cullen to go along with me to expedite this, I would change your motion from a year moratorium to 6 months.
Actually,
moratorium.
I'm happy to entertain 6 months.
I would second that motion.
That this
amendment.
is, excuse me, I'm sorry, were you through?
No, I'm through.
This is a similar conversation to 2168 of some years ago. It was to protect the view and the protection of what the land looked like out there, to keeping it from going commercial. I understand both sides.
Yeah.
Totally, I think the timeline is a little long. I think we should put it on the front burner quicker and learn more about it.
6
learn
months
what we
work
can
with
do.
you.
I mean, zoning sometimes rules to put up trees to protect line of sight and the visual aspect. That's part of zoning.
Mm-hmm.
This is a little bit similar, I think.
Yeah.
It doesn't totally take away the use of it. It could be used, Phil, but maybe how it's used is really it's kind of a middle ground that everybody can live with. And we do want to protect what Central Kentucky offers, which is a lot of visual. I would suggest a reconsideration of the timeline, and I would suggest a plan to, I guess we would talk to Steve Hunter to see what he has probably read about this and what's being done in other areas, and put it off.
He's fielding phone calls, yeah, as well.
And we gain more information in order to make an informed decision that is best for everybody, to find a middle ground, because that's really what we do up here. We try to find a middle ground.
And that's all I'm asking.
And that's what you're asking for.
I'm just asking for pump the brakes, let us do our research. I don't want another dead animal composting fiasco. I don't want, in Clark County, they're filling gymnasiums with people that are, coming out. I don't want that. I want us to have plenty of time to discuss this, to figure out what's right for the county, because what we're asking is we're asking for people from out of town to come in, put up these farms, and the people that live here have to deal with it.
I would like that we do it as quickly as possible and set a time limit on it, so that we beat that time limit, and then those who are contemplating dealing with this know how.
Yeah.
And that's why I would propose, and Magistrate Cullen agreed with me, 6 months.
I'd rather go 3 months and see where we are.
My only problem with 3 months is, can we get planning and zoning to put it on their agenda to meet, and are those things that we can do? So
The moratorium can be extended. So if planning and zoning can't get to it within 3 months, just like this eviction moratoriums in federal, they've extended them, further out. So, if you did say 3, for example, then it hasn't, they haven't fully addressed it, then you could always vote to extend it.
I can live with the 3 months to get this voted favorably, and I've got a comment here. Just imagine, with the 50 or 60 cattle that I see every time I go out Maple Avenue to go on to 127, we have one of the most magnificent mansions in all of Kentucky. I've missed very few counties. So you look out from the Caldwell Mansion and you see, I know the sight line there up and down from their front porch is probably 30 or 40 acres. That's nothing compared to the thousands of these panels that could be put on to that sight line. And oh, by the way, that's one of the most magnificent dual fence lines built 200 years ago by the Dutch Irish, who came over here and built our rock fences that are all but depleted in Tennessee. I've got a relative who lobbied in their capital to make sure that those are preserved from now on. And to just put that visual in your mind of Caldwell Mansion looking across the road like that, I can go along with the 3 months, especially with the legal, first of all, the legal leverage that it gives us immediately with this high-powered attorney coming in from California, and then secondly with the extension that our counselor has just added to it. So Magistrate Cullen, if you can go with 3, I can go with 3.
I'll put, if it helps us, give us some time to look at the right things to do for our county, I'll do it to 3.
And I second.
That's fine.
Tourism, visual is tourism to me. If tourism created 44 million plus, then I think it becomes an important part of our economic development. So let's not destroy it.
No.
Let's take a look at it. Let's put a reasonable time limit, and let's say to other people who are involved in this, get the damn job done. There are special meetings. I'm sorry. Sometimes you just have to get it done. You do what you have to do to meet the mission and the goal.
I'll be happy to follow through with Steve Hunter and planning and zoning members to expedite this.
This is what the court, they're an offspring of us.
Yes, they are.
Well, I can tell you that it'll be on the forefront, because one of the gentlemen that lives on Pope Road is Sam Collier, who's on the planning board too.
Well,
and so he's
have
a
an
very
inside
smart
track.
man.
Let's use the leverage that we have to get it done. And then we can make an informed decision that can hopefully mediate with everybody and find common ground.
All the questions, Judge.
Okay. You've heard the motion, and 3 months moratorium effective, I guess, immediately.
Let me reread it.
Yes, please.
All right, a 3-month moratorium on large-scale industrial solar greater than 10 acres. I should put industrial solar development greater than 10 acres to allow planning and zoning to adopt some rules and regulations in the county zoning ordinance on these facilities. Is that?
Well, I think so. 'Cause as the current ordinance is, it's 10 acres, primary use of solar, 500-foot setback, and that's all. I don't think that they, when they created that ordinance, that they really were thinking about large-scale, facilities of hundreds of acres, being established on the farmland. They hadn't addressed that, so.
And could we go ahead and, as far as the date, and just go ahead and make that March 31st as the 3-month date, just to be clear? I just didn't want to get technical, because planning and zoning does have to be technical on some things, so I would just suggest we go ahead and.
March 31st.
March
until
31st,
extended.
that's the date with the holidays and
I agree.
everything coming on us here.
No, I think that's a good idea. And that was what I was worried about, the 3 months, is we're getting ready to get into holidays, and I don't know if anyone's seen the planning and zoning
motion's been reread
agenda.
to March 31st for that period of time. Just because I am abstaining, recuse myself from the vote, I would like a hand vote. All those in favor, raise your right hand. All those opposed, raise their right hand. Passes 4-2.
This one didn't vote right. Raise his left.
I wrote that.
Passes 4-2.
Thank you, Judge. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you all on both sides.
Yeah,
Thank you.
no, thank you, guys. I just want to have discussions, and I want to give, I don't want to get caught off guard with this, and we're talking about a good amount of time on these things, and there's questions out there regarding, when these things are decommissioned, who's supposed to be responsible for that? Is that the company? There's so many questions out there that I think we need to be educated on.
I think on the other side, that a commercial company or 3 months is not a whole lot of time for it. I mean, they can handle 3 months, or approximately 3 months.
I will offer my personal knowledge to anybody that chooses to talk to me on a non-voting motion as it relates to this area. I have a lot of knowledge that some things that have been said are both accurate and potentially inaccurate also. Okay?
Move right along.
All right. Anything else?
Yeah, I have 3 more. No, I'm just kidding. I'm done.
All right.
I'll give him a throw something at him.
Just, happy for the Boyle County Rebels winning their 10-state championship. That's pretty awesome. Title town. And we have a parade coming up in Junction City on the 18th. That's right. So I just want to tell everybody about that. The lineup is at 5:30.
You get nothing.
It's
What happens
kind
when you
of,
sit over there?
I'm disappointed that Danville's not having a parade.
Extremely.
I just don't understand. I think a private citizen even tried to start one up, but it didn't work out. So
That's 18th.
Yes,
18th of December.
that's all I have.
Breakfast is
Saturday.
this Saturday, this coming Saturday.
The 11th.
11th, yeah.
That's your Salmons?
Did you announce the time of the parade?
Well, I know lineup's at 5:30, so
Okay.
I don't know what time the parade will be. 6 or 6:30.
Probably, you're right, Brad. Probably get lined up next 6. Probably
After parties at Ronnie's house.
Every bit of 15 cars or 15 whatever. It won't take long.
I don't know, because with Danville not having theirs, there's a lot of chatter on Facebook where people just disappointed Danville's not having one, and so there's been a lot of push for junctions, and I think if Parables is any indication, I was mad I missed that, but
I thought you had your turn.
That was a good turnout.
There's a good turnout at Parables.
It's wonderful.
Yeah.
I expect it to
Well, I
be
hope it is,
larger.
because usually it's not a real
Ronnie,
big
can you
turnover.
move the mic closer to you, please?
I just said when we have our turn, I think we ought to be courtesy and gentlemen instead of.
Hey, Santa's still checking his list, by the way.
We've already had our turn.
How many times do you interrupt us?
Judge asked me if I had anything else, and you jump in. Chris says something. He says something.
Oh my gosh, Kettle.
I apologize, Judge, for those times.
You got the floor, Magistrate Salmons.
The only thing that I have, I want to echo what the counselor said about. I'm very happy for our county high school winning another championship. Although they did beat my Eagles. My Eagles flopped a little bit and their wings dropped and they couldn't do too much.
But they're all coming together with your 6'6", 302-pound tackle who's going to UK.
Well, that's a good thing. So, Judge, I don't have anything else. It's been a very informative meeting. We could have cut it in half if we hadn't talked so long. That's part of the problem, I guess.
That's it short.
Glad he didn't get his coffee.
If everybody will and come Saturday at the Fire Station Junction, them guys are doing a great job.
Yes, they are.
It's really a beautiful facility.
Corey Kitchen and Company.
Yes, and so $5 for all the pancakes you eat and whatever. I'm not a pancake man, but I'm gonna be there.
Sausage.
Yeah.
I'll eat pancakes.
And then at 11 o'clock,
Hey, he's talking. You can't-
at 11 o'clock they're going to start the can drive and stuff that Roy Miller and them does every year. They raise $5,000 plus I don't know how much food they got, but they're starting at 11 o'clock, and I don't know what time they're going to be through. Also, that day, the Kaufmans will be singing that morning with them. Plus, my family's going to be there singing. So, if you want to come out and hear some Christmas music
Where's
and
that?
stuff,
At the Pancake Breakfast?
at the Pancake Breakfast, we'll be right there in front of the fire department,
Okay.
starting at 11. And then, like you said, the parade's the 18th. I know Tom, he was in the parade. He showed me his truck with his big sign in the back. But you didn't have no decorations around you, or lights, or did? Oh, it was a
Did
day.
you see the greenery?
No, I couldn't see it that picture. But anyway, if it's at night, you can put lights on it, can't you?
Well, yeah, absolutely.
Well, it should be
Nobody's gonna
probably
prohibit
dark
that.
by then. So I'm sure that you're gonna come. So, but I'm proud of Junction City.
Absolutely.
I hope that we can eventually get on the map there. So maybe the lights will shine so bright that day that it will shine out everywhere. So.
Can I say one other thing?
No. You had your turn. You had your turn.
I'm anxious to hear Ronnie, Donnie, and Connie sing.
Not Connie, Bonnie.
Oh, Bonnie. It's Bonnie and consider Connie in it. The three of them are really great.
All right.
Can I say one thing real quick? I'm sorry. I forgot, this important to me. Today is the 80th anniversary of the Harbor.
Yes.
It is.
Uh,
The judge is already queued on that.
Yep.
So my mom is from Hawaii, and I know my grandfather was a civilian employee there at Pearl Harbor, and when the bombing occurred, he got called in, for 24, 48-hour shift, to work and help out and so forth. So I just want to remember this day. It's a day that will live in infamy.
With the grace of the judge and Magistrate Simmons, my father was there 2 weeks later.
Today's my dad's birthday.
Oh.
He's deceased.
All right, thank you. Sorry about that.
That's all I had. John.
Okay.
Oh, buddy.
John?
Well, I'm gonna follow up on comments already made today, but as we adjourn, not only in honor of Nelson, I would like for us to adjourn in honor of those who lost their lives and family members of December 7th, 1941 at Pearl Harbor. And I would just like to read something to you that I read this morning. The attack on Pearl Harbor was an event that inspired a nation to come together. It continues to bring out emotions from the most hardened sailors and soldiers. And from the writings of Cornelius Douglas, pearl of beauty, pearl of life, within your channels deep, rest the men and tools of war for you and God to keep. From northern skies fell death and strife, your paradise turned hell, as history wrote by early light, a tearful memory tale. Such valor there was to be found, mid tragic human loss, while doomed souls lay in pearl's rain, war bloomed, the final cost.
Thank you.
Very good, very good. Thank you. Well,
Great, John, thank you.
it was great. I want to, since Tim didn't make it, and, he was a challenge to get here, but I'm gonna read everybody just for information, this faithful service award that we signed. Tim Webb provided the Boyle County Fiscal Court with 18 years of faithful service that supported the efficiency, effective operations of county government services to the benefit of Boyle County residents. His demonstrated professionalism and dedication as an equipment operator in the Boyle County Public Works Department has significantly benefited the safe operation and use of county roads impacted by severe weather. He personally made sure that the Constitution Square Park and Veterans Memorial Park were always presented in the most appropriately, presented most appropriately for public use. This award was presented and resulted in a unanimous vote of appreciation by the Boyle County Fiscal Court in the 179th year of Boyle County being historically bold on 7th December 21, 2021. So to make this consummate in alignment with this, I would make a motion that we recognize Tim Webb for 18 years of faithful service. And a motion made by McDowell. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Magistrate. Short discussion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Motion carries unanimously. I will present this to Tim in short order. There's another thing that I would like to bring forth for the YouTube folks and the county. On December the 3rd, recently, today's the 7th, 4 days ago, there was an applicant messenger newspaper put out, and Boyle Magistrate is president of Kentucky Association of Counties. There's a picture of Magistrate Phil Salmons being sworn in by his son and taking the reins of the Kentucky Association of Counties. And although this is not the final product, we are going to have the newspaper article professionally matted and framed, and this will be on the wall outside this courtroom for all residents of Boyle County to realize what a great honor. One of our own, a magistrate from Boyle County, is now the president of one of the most significant associations across Kentucky, the Kentucky Association of Counties. And to him, I want people to know it, and that he works in this building, and we congratulate Phil on that distinctive accomplishment.
Judge, I'm not only shocked, but I'm honored deeply that you're doing that, and it's just, I don't know what to say. Thank you for being my friend.
Yes,
Bring
sir.
your board here a couple of times.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. You're welcome.
That's a shock.
That is an idea that Miss Julie and I shared, and Missy, and you got a great staff here, Phil, and
Well, I know, and I love them all.
I want you to know it.
Great people.
At this time, I don't have anything. Please come to Jingle and Mingle on the 16th. Need you there. We'll let you know what the meat costs and all that. But on support, please support the Junction City Fire Department on the 11th and at 8 o'clock in the pancake breakfast, and hear Ronnie singing at 11. And then dinner that night at 5 o'clock, the Christmas dinner in the same place in the new City Hall Fire Station building. As many of those, support the can drive that Roy is putting together. It's a very worthwhile benefit. I would like to, I don't have anything else, I don't believe. Anybody, my door is always open to talk about solar farms if you want to talk about solar, whatever you want to call them. But I'm not going to partake in any discussion that this body has regarding that, because I have specific interest in that going forward, personally. So,
Judge, I won't be here the 16th. I can't get out of a commitment I have. We have a meeting. Matter of fact, I have 4 meetings in Frankfurt that day. But I'd like to leave $20. Whoever's taking money for
okay.
help on food.
Sounds great.
go from
We'll,
there.
we'll put it right in the kitty and put it to good use.
Bill's buying the dipping sauces.
You might have just moved from Santa's naughty list to the nice list there.
Yeah,
It's a step in the right direction.
Judge, I'd just like to say one thing, maybe. I think I'm the only magistrate that's ever been president of KCO. I know we've got a judge before. But I wish I wish you guys would get more involved or try to, because KCO is a great organization. We help a lot of counties. As Judge can tell you, he served as the HR director there for a while, and he's very familiar with KCO, the good work that KCO does. Correct, Judge?
Absolutely,
And
absolutely.
we've got money to loan, and we had loaned out $2 million back when they had the floods for the counties that needed it. I think 4 counties stepped up and borrowed $500,000 each. And this was without any interest for a year and a half, and then they pay very low interest and very low payments to pay it back. And we're always trying to help these counties like that. And one thing that I'm really looking forward to in my county, and I think it's in the paper, is this scholarship award that I get money, and you can either give it to one school or you give it to how you want it. So I'm breaking it down, and I'm going to give it to a student in Boyle County and a student in Danville. And that's, I think that's great that we've got that kind of money coming, that we can do that. And that's one reason I really wanted to get involved with KCO. So.
Thank you for that, and there again, in your service to both the county and KCO, you're bringing a piece of that back that helps benefit Boyle County residents, and that's noted and much appreciated.
Thank you, sir.
So with that being said, I would like to entertain a motion to adjourn, and then I will adjourn us per recommendations.
I'll make that motion.
Motion made to adjourn by Magic Cullen, seconded by Magic Gay. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Gentlemen, ladies, we adjourn this session of Boyle County Fiscal Court in honored remembrance of Nelson Rhodes, a pillar of this community for a number of years, several years, a friend to many throughout this city and throughout this county. May his soul rest in peace. We also ask that you remember all the victims and those who survived the attack at Pearl Harbor on this date, December 7th in 1941, that launched the United States into war. Those people that have paid the ultimate sacrifice there in defending this country should never be forgotten. We ask that we all reach out and remember them today. And I want everybody to know that those survivors that still exist from the Pearl Harbor attack, when they pass, they can be interned in the battleships in Pearl Harbor, and that's a right an unusual resting place for those people that survived want to be with the brothers that lost their lives and sisters that lost their lives on that day, December 7th. So we adjourn in honored memory of all those that gave their lives at Pearl Harbor, served at Pearl Harbor, and survived Pearl Harbor. And this court stands in adjournment. Thank you.
Thank you, Judge.